Ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus. I'm out here again because I want to share some information with you. You know, I have to be grateful. I am grateful because God did something special for me, and I thank God. The special thing that God did for me was to allow a miracle in my life. And when I say a miracle, I'm talking about something that human beings cannot do. Now, I didn't say won't do, I say can't do. And only one can do it is the miracle maker. And once you have had a miracle in your life, you don't have to explain it to anybody else because they're not going to believe it anyway. Miracles are something that usually are unbelievable unless it happened to you or you saw it. Otherwise, forget it. But ladies and gentlemen, that is why I'm grateful, because I know that there's a God. I know that there's a God, and I know that God is love. I know that God loves us all. I know that God gave us choice because of that love, so we can choose our path. I know that. And when I think about all of the troubles that we have been experiencing and I have been talking about for the past few weeks, I think about all of that. The information that I gave you is as accurate and as truthful as any information that you get from anybody in regards to what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about too much stuff I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, what am I saying? The question that I want to address right now is change coming? The one we are talking about due to the crisis that we're engaged in at this moment in our lives. The answer is it might, but it doesn't look promising. And the reason is because we do not understand love. American people do not understand love. We understand being good. We understand being kind. We know that the white people that's out there marching with black people now talking about Black Lives Matter, these are good, kind people. And they're out there with us to let us know that they support us. And if any old viciousness come from the government and they are with us, they are putting their lives at risk just like we are. So that makes them really love us as well, because they don't have to be there. But the answer is this going to make a difference. The reason that it's complicated, ladies and gentlemen, is this. First of all, people don't know God. They've read about him in a book. They've talked about him. But do they know God? No. They go to Sunday school, they've heard the preachers, and they've bought all kind of books from preachers trying to tell you this and trying to tell you that. But do they know God? No. They know of God. They know what they heard of God. They know what they read of God. Do they believe it? Well, if it doesn't have to call for any action, they believe it. If it calls for some action, they doubt it. So, what am I saying? Here's my evidence, ladies and gentlemen. In my understanding, it is only after you know God can you have any idea of what God is about. And having some idea of what God is about, you can apply yourself in doing some of those things that are necessarily important to God and for us. But you got to know. If you don't know, you don't know. That's the absolute truth, ladies and gentlemen. And when it comes down to white people, do white people mean what they say? Do white people know God? Do white people know love? Well, look at here. You got people saying that Donald Trump is a devil. But you got white people, fundamentalist Christians, evangelical Christians over there loving Trump, eating him up. Everything he says, they say it's from God. Now, you know darn well ain't no God like Trump. But white people, not all white people now. I ain't trying to say this about all white people. But that's the way it is. So, if this is the way it is, how you gonna act like God? Now, we talked about 400 years, just here in America. Church people abusing another people as second-class citizens. Now, who is going to straighten that up? Who is going to teach the people that this is wrong? Who is going to teach the people that this isn't love? In order for you to do that, you got to know that it's wrong. You got to know that there's a better way. How you gonna know that there's a better way? Because you got a message in your heart from God. God showed you a miracle. Or you've seen somebody being freed from this type of stuff? Huh? How do you know that you're supposed to treat people right? I heard somewhere by the way people treat you. If you treat it wrong, you know nobody wants to be treated wrong. It ain't fun. If you treat it right, you like it, you want to be treated that way all the time. So you assume, if you don't know, that everybody else want to be treated right too. If not, if you don't know, you just go up to them and treat them right. Well, the message that I'm trying to say is that if you're going to be a righteous person, you got to know God. You got to know that there's a power superior to you. You got to know that it is not all about you. So, if you don't know that, you will abuse people. You will treat them as second-class citizens. And that's exactly what the white church did. I went, having made a little presentation this morning, I erased it. And I went to the store, and I passed by this church, a big church in Woodbury, Minnesota. And they were having church outside. You know, distancing, speaker, everybody can get the sounds. And I'm listening to these people over there preaching about God. And I'm thinking to myself, 400 years. And right now, cops are killing people all over this nation. I'm sure George Floyd is not the last one. Probably just the last one we got a tape on. So it's happening all over this country. And they're holding church. Holding church. They put up with this oppression, this abuse for 400 years. Teaching about God. Teaching those people sitting in that gathering that what they're doing is proper. What they're doing is proper. And so 100 years didn't mean nothing, they didn't even care. 200 years didn't mean nothing, they didn't care. 300 years didn't mean nothing, didn't care. 400 years, all of that religiosity meant nothing to a white person. Now let me tell you some on the bad side, ladies and gentlemen, about the black side. White folks didn't have to teach people about God if they didn't know nothing about God. How come the black people didn't? Well, because black preachers, they weren't called by God to preach. Black preachers in the original were called by white people to preach. These were people like, you see that, did you watch Django? You saw, oh man, this black guy, this black slave. You saw how he acted. He couldn't stand a nigga. Because he was just raised with white folks. So out of being raised with white folks as long as he was, he couldn't stand a nigga. And you know white folks can't stand a nigga. Then all of a sudden you got these kinds of guys taking the message of the white man and preaching it and permission and giving a little whatever necessary to trick you to believe that. And then you believe, and now they got 400 years of ignoring your butt. Black people, people of color, they got 400 years of ignoring you, treating you like you're a second-class citizen, and have taught you to 400 years to put up with it. To put up with it. Now where is this Moses that goes down and tell Pharaoh, let my people go? That was one. The name was, well, there might have been several. A lot of you don't know about the people of our past, but there was one that you can still associate yourself with, and that was Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King was not just talking, like a lot of leaders are doing today. They just talking. And our brothers and our sisters are still wondering if they can eat, if they can go to school, if they got decent clothes to wear, if they got house to live in or apartment to live in or can pay the rent, or if they can have health care. They got this stuff ever since we've been in this country. Not just us though, ladies and gentlemen. All of the poor people. The only people that don't have to worry about this stuff are rich people. The millionaires and your billionaires and those who are close to it. Everybody else got to hustle and suffer. And what did the church do? Come on over here. Give me your tithes. We need this here money. The Bible says you got to pay your tithes. You got to give God some money. The whole earth belongs to God. All the gold that we know of belongs to God. All the silver, all the diamonds, everything that you call precious belongs to God. Now God asking you 10% because you got some. You a fool if you believe that. God is not about no money. God is about love. God is about creation. God is about seeing something come from nothing that is good. Now that's God. But you go and talk to preachers today and tell them we got to do something. Now, not all preachers. Some preachers are really okay, because not all preachers were taught by them old plantation preachers or plantation slave niggas. Not all preachers were taught that. Some preachers have been called, and they are aware of what's going on. I don't hear too many of them, but I know that they're there. I was listening to a church program this morning. People try to ask them questions, and all of a sudden, the pastor starts speaking. And I'm watching some people that was listening to the program. The man was talking like he was out of his mind, and all of a sudden, that was it. There's no more discussion. In other words, this is how they taught them years ago. I've said it. I'm the preacher. I'm the HNIC. Yo, you shut up and follow it. And if you can't follow it, then you can leave. But you can leave your tithe before you go. Ladies and gentlemen, look. Are we ready for this kind of change? The kind of change that God requires for us to have peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and fulfillment of our dreams? Are we ready for that? No way. No way. White folks ain't ready for it. And when you start talking about change, white folks ain't talking about that kind of change. They might talk about giving you a little bit more. They might talk about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. They might even go up to $17 an hour. You get on, they might say $20 an hour. But you can bet your last money. If $20 an hour is assigned to minimum wage, and you make it $20 an hour, I guarantee you, whatever situation you're in today, once you start making $20 an hour, it's gonna be the same situation. Ain't nothing gonna change. You might still get a little bit more money coming in, but you're gonna have more money coming out, going out, and it ain't gonna bring in no more than what you used to have brought in. Because the system is rigged to do exactly that. And it ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change unless God changes it. And I'm not talking about somebody coming out of the clouds. I'm talking about people having a change of heart. People knowing the truth. What people say, and my friends, my sisters and brothers that listen to me, young and old, black and white, and everybody else, there's only one chance for this thing to work for America. And that's for us to redo the thing. 400 and some odd years ago, it was done. We've lived from that experiment, and it's a failure. It's an absolute failure. And if we want to be successful, we're going to redo this thing. We're going to redo it. They tell me people have tried to make an airplane, it didn't work. They had to redo it. Tried to make a car, it didn't work, they had to redo it. So what you try and fail at, if it means something to you, you keep working at it till you get it fixed. And now if you want to get it fixed, I want you to know that ain't no man gonna stand up and tell you that you got the system fixed when he's hungry. No man's gonna tell you that you got the system fixed when he's naked or ragged. No man's gonna tell you got the system fixed when he's homeless. And his word matters. I don't care if everybody on earth have worked together and got a house and left this man out and this man trying to get a house, and you turn your back on this man, every last one of you are filthy wrong. Now, you don't know that because God didn't tell you that. I told you that. But I'm speaking for God. So, in answer to the question, is this change coming that we all talking about on TV, all the politicians talking about? Is that change coming? Maybe in 400 more years. It ain't coming right now. Why? Because the only people that want it are the poorest of the poor. That's the only people that want it. It doesn't matter if you black. It doesn't matter if you white. It doesn't matter if you're a person of color. The only person that wants what I just got through describing are those who are suffering the worst of the worst. Because if you're not suffering the worst of the worst, you put up with it and you think it's all right. That's what you've been doing all your life, putting up with it. Putting up with it. You might be a billionaire, you put up with it. You might be a millionaire, you put up with it. You might just be making a lot of money, you put up with it. You might not be making nothing, but you put up with it. You might be hungry and everything, but you put up with it. Wow, what the hell is that? Man, I don't think I can outrun that, so I'm gonna stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at something so funny. I wish I could get you to see it. Let me see if I can get you to see it. Now I'm gonna just look at it. I want to see if I can get you to see it. What is it? Oh boy, you're not gonna see it. Let me see. Look at it. I'm sure it's a stick. I'm sure it's a stick. Yeah, buddy. But it can be looking like a snake as well. And it looks like one of those fast ones. But now, I see it's a stick. You probably didn't see it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the answer to the question before I go. This thing about change, the kind of change that is required to bring about peace and prosperity and stuff, is that going to happen now? The answer to that is no. Your reason it's not going to happen is because the people don't want it. The people say they want it, but they really don't want it. What I mean by that is this. In order to get it, you got to treat people right. And to treat people right means that you're not going to be walking around here big-headed and all that you used to be. No, not no more. And you're not going to like that because you always want to be better than somebody else. You always want to be smarter than somebody else. You always want to have it going on than somebody else. And so the answer to your question, no. Black people going to still be getting killed by cops. White people going to still act like they care. But they ain't going to be saying nothing. And black people are going to still be complaining and mad as hell. And you're going to have these preachers out here talking about just come to church. The reason, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I heard a man say, the reason that all this stuff is going on in the world called folks don't come to church. I grew up in the church, my friends. And I left the church. Why did I leave the church? Because the church wasn't nothing but a bunch of talk. You can sit up and read the book. You can sit up and discuss it. You can sit up and say all kinds of things about it. But when it comes down to acting it out, the only thing that you're going to act out is the smallest, minute thing. Any big thing that might put a little pressure on you, you ain't doing nothing. You're not going to do a thing. Trump knows it. He knows it. And that's why he's working on you, trying to take you straight to hell. And they're putting the leaders in place to support this cause. Who can God count on? Can he count on those folks over there at church this morning, preaching, having this service? Can't count on them. Why? They don't give a stink about that. Now, I'll be like making a change. They had a rally yesterday in Woodbury where all those white folks came out, maybe about 20 blacks total. Might have been more or less. But ain't nothing, the white folks ain't gonna do nothing. And black folks ain't gonna do nothing. Now, they talk about some people that they can't control. They call them young folks who might want to burn up everything. Now, if anything happens, it's going to come from that. If anything happens, it's going to come because If any of the changes that we're talking about, if they're really going to happen, they are going to happen because the young people, the old people, maybe one or two of them, but most of them scared. Most of them rather just go somewhere and hide and die. But the young people are going to say, no more. They're going to start havoc. And if they do it while Trump presidency, Trump ain't smart. They're going to go, they got black people in every state, in every city, in every town. And for some strange reason, I don't know how it's going to operate, they're going to start tearing stuff down. And the government, the rich millionaire, billionaire government that's been abusing all these other people so that they can have a grand, fantastic life at our expense, they're going to get mad. You know what they're going to do? They're going to send drones over the cities and towns trying to attack the people who have said no more. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to be blowing up their own buildings, blowing up their own houses, blowing up their own property. And they're going to be killing some people. But those people that get killed, you won't have them to be your slave no more. You won't have them to rebuild these cities and towns that you blow up. And we know you will blow them up just like you were doing in the Civil War. You will do it again because you're haters. You're haters. There's nothing about you loving except your love for money. And ain't nothing wrong with you loving money. You need food, clothes, shelter, education, health care, and the only way you can get that in this demonic society. Demonic society, what that? I was saying demonic, but it almost sounds like the money society. And that's what it is. When you're dealing with money, you got to have money. Can't go to school, can't do nothing without money. That's the devil. And white people, my brothers and my friends, I want you to know that you're being served by the devil. My black friends, sisters and brothers, people of color, I want you to know you are being served by the devil. And none of you are being loved by God. God wants to love you. There are white people and black people that God wants to love you with. But the medicine of deceit is strong. You just don't want to break it. I'm gonna let you go now. I might not even play this, ladies and gentlemen, because one reason or another. Next time, Eddie Morgan saying goodbye.